Good evening, Yarnies. How is everyone doing? Get my stuff together. Let's see. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Um, hey there, Lumberjacks lady. First time chatter. How are you? I'm doing pretty good. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Mine was pretty good. Hey there, Grammy. We streamed Saturday night with the beaded crochet jewelry. I did not stream on Sunday. What's this? Oh, was that Sunday? Yeah. Um, most of Sunday morning and afternoon, I was in Pick Stitch's stream. He was celebrating his brand birthday and 3,000 followers, 3-year brand birthday, 3,000 followers, and him becoming partner. So if you don't know him, definitely check out Pick Stitch. And I don't have a link already for him. I gotta remember how to do this. Oh, that's how you do it. I'll learn how to do this at some point. There you go. Actually, wrong. I'll figure this out one day. Maybe. Nope, that's not it. Oh, all this Twitch stuff. I had to do slash, not exclamation point. There we go. Alrighty. He's a makers and crafters streamer, variety crafter. He'll do cross stitch, crochet, pixel art. That's why his name is Pick Stitch. And he will do Lego, pixel Lego builds, do a little bit of gaming. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, so don't have anything planned for tonight. Actually, I don't have anything planned for the month of August besides our Throwback Thursdays. But what we will be doing is we'll be working on our blankets for Project Linus. I started a second one. The first one I have, which I think I put a picture of the progress of the endlessly elegant blanket. So that's still not done yet. I'm still in progress. Let's see. Did I put it? Yeah, I posted it in the Discord, in the Whips and Foes. So, what the endlessly elegant one? Yeah, I love it. If you're not a member of the Discord, if you want, definitely check out the Discord. The link, just type exclamation point Discord. The link will pop up. It'll also pop up periodically if you want to check on what's going on there. We're a small little community over there. We're a small channel, period. But periodically I will post what I'm working on and progress on this. So it's not finished, but getting there. I had a lot of this baby yarn and wanted to use it up. So that's a really cool project. And then I have started this one. This is the endlessly elegant blanket is a free pattern on Ravelry. This one is called the Man Cave Blanket. It's a free pattern on yarnspirations.com. This one is super, 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 super easy. There's a pattern, and once you get the first 2 rows, you don't need to refer to the pattern anymore. All it really is double crochets and then a modification of a fillet stitch, which we did fillet the other week. This they recommend. It calls for the Red Heart camouflage, Red Heart Super Saver camouflage yarn, which I have a whole bunch of it, and I'll never use it. But I changed it up every so often. I think every 5th row, I'm doing a row of this dark brown. And again, this will be donated to Project Linus. A lot of people will make donation blankets for the babies and the really pretty girly ones. They don't think about the boys. So if somebody's into camo and army and the outdoors, or even the girls, I mean, there are girls that are into all that. Again, it's not necessarily just boys. But and speaking of Project Linus, the link just popped up in the chat. If anybody's interested in it, it's a good charity for children in need, children of all ages from 0 to 18. And Lumberjacks lady said, loves an easy pattern every now and then. Mindless. I don't even have to really think about this. All I gotta do is figure out which, if you're gonna do a color change colors, which my modification does. And hey there, Fairy Dust, how are you? I had decided, since Fairy Dust is often in the channel here, let me turn the light on so I can see. Since he's often in the channel and interactive and fix the light. Definitely check out some of the things that Fairy Dust has posted in the Discord. He's made a bunch of, he's really good at socks, and he's done what have you done? Blankets. There has been that really cute I guess you call it a layette pattern. It's like a Winnie the Pooh outfit for a baby. That's really cute. But I decided, and if y'all can see next to Fairy Dust's name, he's got the little sword. He is a mod here in the stream. I needed another mod. Alrighty. Good job. It's coming together nicely. Yeah, I love this. It's, don't have to think about this at all. You're well and just relaxing. No, hey, nothing wrong with that. I was working on this on and off today, and I was in a bunch of a few streams on here during the day, and was hanging out and interacting with some streamers. So like I said, August, we're not really doing any teaching or instructions. We're just gonna sit and chit chat and work on projects for Project Linus. So what is everybody working on currently, if you have a whip going on or a project or whatever it is? And again, it doesn't have to be just crochet. Any type of thing that you're doing. Whoops. I gotta adjust the thumb screws on this lamp. It doesn't want to stay put sometimes. Finishing up a wickedly handmade hooded pocket shawl. I don't wickedly handmade hooded pocket shawl. That sounds interesting. Working on granny squares, trying to eliminate worsted scraps from a Stash Buster blanket. I love Stash Buster blankets. And that's kind of what this is. Again, Clay Miko gave me a bunch of this camo yarn. I'll never, ever, ever use it. I'm not a fan of it. It's just not my preferred colorway. But hopefully it'll be appreciated to whoever receives this. It's a shawl with a hood and pockets. Wickedly handmade as a designer. Oh, okay. That sounds pretty interesting. I've only ever made one shawl pattern, and those of you who have been in the stream a while are very familiar with it. I've done 5 of them, the exact same pattern. That's the only shawl I've ever done. I've never done a hooded shawl or one with pockets. Fairy Dust has got some yarn coming on Friday for a commission. Sweet. And Grammy made a cake this morning, finished a complicated border for a quilt, and chilling crocheting this yarn eater blanket. Yeah, she made this cake. I haven't had any yet, but I mean, I've had it before. It's a favorite. I was in earlier this afternoon. I was in Zakalia's stream, and if you don't know Zakalia, she is a fiber crafter. She does a bunch of things. She sews, she crochets, a bunch of other things out. A bunch of other things. There we go. Check her out. She's fun. And I like her energy, and I've only been in her stream a few times. She actually raided me one night last week with a whole bunch of people, and I was just like, it was Pick Stitch's fault. He suggested for her to raid me. But where was I going with this? Oh, she had mentioned that she likes lemon flavored desserts, and wait a minute, let's see here. Paradise, please share pics of the haul when it arrives. Love looking at yarn. Haven't cut the cake yet. Grammy, it's just 9 skeins of pink red heart super saver. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But we were talking about desserts in Zakalia's stream the other day, and she said her husband makes some type of lemon cookie that's really good. And I was telling her about this lemon cookie recipe that I found that's amazing. And the cake that Grammy made is a lemon lime cake, and God, it's so good. It's been a long time since I've had it. That is if you like lemon lime. Yep, a lemon cook-off. I don't know, having that cake and those cookies at the same time. That's a little too much at once. For those of you who are new, I know Lumberjack's Lady. I think they're new here. I never didn't introduce myself. You think I'll learn how to do this streaming stuff? Um, I am the Crafty Cub. I am mostly crochet here on the stream. There have been a few other things that we've done, but mostly crochet. I still don't know how to set my setup and everything. Not the computer technical software setup, but physically set up a camera and everything to show some floral design, which I'll do every now and then, and also to show my rigid heddle loom, since it's not doesn't sit flat on the table. I got to lean it up against something and getting the angle the right way, and a lot of behind the scenes stuff. When you're a streamer, you kind of have. And I was in somebody's stream. It was an Upcycly stream this morning, and she was having some technical or whatever software issues, and I basically said that when you're a streamer, not only are you the star, but you're the editor and the producer of your own live show, and you gotta do a whole bunch of different things all at once. And that's another one. Let's shout her out. If I remember how to spell her username. And I'll learn one day. It should be an exclamation, a slash, not exclamation point. There we go. I have rigid heddled too. I'm still coming up with ideas of what to make other than the scarves and tea towels. Yeah, I've only made a handful of things. Practicing with it. I need to get more into it. It's just, as you know, if you've ever used a loom of that type, or even more elaborate looms, the setup can take time and everything. And a lot of times, if I'm going to be crafting on, want to be creative, I just want something to do real quick. And it's easy to get the yarn and the hook out and whip something up with the rigid heddle loom. There's some prep involved. And it's not like a floor loom where you can wrap your warp and have a whole bunch of different projects on there, or enough warp for a whole bunch of different projects. You're limited with how much you can load up onto it. I think we're going to have another ad, or we are going to have an ad, not another ad. That's kind of, well, not that it matters. I was going to say it's like perfect timing. I'm at the end of a row. And again, crochet is definitely more visually satisfying after short periods of time. I feel like I never make progress without chunks of time when weaving exactly. I will be back after this ad. And I'm going to thank everybody beforehand. Thank you for sitting through the ad. It really helps my channel. So I will be right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thank you for, like I said, thank you for sitting through that ad. But yeah, crochet is definitely more visually satisfying after short periods of time. It's something you could pick up real quick and make progress quicker than with something like weaving. To those of you that are new, One thing to scheduling little note, I guess what you would call it. Thursdays here, we do something called Throwback Thursdays, where we will do a vintage crochet pattern. This coming Thursday, since I didn't stream last Thursday because I had a really bad toothache, so we will do what we were going to do on Thursday. Last Thursday, we're going to do this Thursday. We are doing another mystery edging pattern. I gave Grammy a book of vintage crochet edging patterns from the 40s. And she went through and picked out some and wrote down the page number on which one. I have not looked at any of them. Well, the only one I looked at was the one we did the other week. And right before stream on Thursday, I will get the book. And when I start the stream, I'll open up the book. And when you find out what we're going to be making is when I'm going to find out what we'll be making. And you'll watch me suffer trying to decipher the pattern live here on stream. We also will be doing, and we have done, some other vintage patterns that aren't mystery. I think we've only done one, that one doily. Yep, actually I can show you what we did. I don't have the exact one that we did on stream, because when I do any of the vintage stuff on stream, I will be using worsted weight yarn so everybody can see what we are doing, because you're not really going to be able to see it if I use crochet thread. But for the mystery ones, after stream, off stream, I will do it in crochet thread. So this is the mystery one that we did the other week. This is in the crochet thread. That was our first mystery edging that we worked on. I just did a small sample of it. Obviously, I'm not going to do large enough for anything sizable, but that's a little sample. And then the one that was not a mystery, this was our sample, and I had prepped this in advance. This is a pattern from like the 1930s. So there's that. And then when I did it on stream, I did the exact same thing. Let me zoom out. Zoom out a bit. So that is in size 5 crochet thread. When I did it on stream, I used worsted weight yarn, cotton yarn, and the exact same pattern. It's just in larger, thicker yarn. So that was the exact same pattern as that. So I like mixing it up, doing the vintage patterns and then some things that are a little more modern. And then these are a few other ones. I didn't do any of these on stream. I'll just show this off again. Those of you who are regulars in my channel will have seen these. These are just little samples of some of the edgings. None of these were in that book that I lent to Grammy. These are ones I found all online. There's a website called Free Vintage Crochet, and there's all different patterns, not just edgings. There's all different things. And actually, that website is where this came from. And these were actual patterns that were produced in the early to mid 20th century. So they were real, actual patterns that if you were around back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and you got one of the pattern books, those would have been in there. Watch part of Just Vintage Crochet video today. The one about the crochet from the Titanic. Yeah. Just Vintage Crochet on YouTube. Her name is Karina. She's got her whole channel's all vintage crochet. She's got another channel called, I forgot the name of it. I think it's called It's Not Knit. Anyway, she's got a series of videos on the Just Vintage Crochet channel that are Titanic related. Either, I think a lot of them, they're not necessarily things that were on the Titanic, but it's around that time period when those patterns were around. So patterns that were from the early 20th century. Yeah, I really like her channel. That's kind of the idea where I got the mystery pattern idea. She does one that's slightly different, where the patterns can come from a number of different books from a number of different years. It could be anything. She doesn't know, and doesn't even know what the pattern will end up being. It could be a doily, it could be edging, it could be a scarf, it could be anything. Mine, I know it's an edging from the one book, so I've got it narrowed down a little bit. I didn't want to copy hers. So if anybody is interested in that, I've got that on my, if you check out the Discord, I have a channel on there for YouTubers and YouTubers and other video and other resources online that are kind of interesting. We're gonna see if this will work, if I can copy it that way. There you go. That is the link for Just Vintage Crochet on YouTube. Make certain I've got my chain here. Oh, and the other thing, I think the best thing to do, I'll just pull it up here this way. Here we are. Oops. Move you over there. Yeah, that's good. So if you're interested in vintage patterns, this is a pattern from the 1850s that I did. Whoops, I gotta make certain it's there. That I did a few weeks ago. That is a doily pattern from the 1850s. And Karina on Just Vintage Crochet on her channel, she started doing that and she couldn't figure out part of it. So I think she just gave up. I think I figured it out, and that is on our end table. Yep. And if anybody is interested in that pattern, it was a PDF download of like 2 volumes of a book from the 1850s. The first book is knitted patterns, and the second one is crocheted, and it's all different items. And I have it here somewhere on my computer. I just don't, off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of it, like the link of it, where I found it. It might, no, it wasn't from freevintagecrochet.com. It's from some other source that I found. So, I'll have to find that again. So like I said, the pattern I'm working on now, it's a one row repeat, and the actual pattern says they want just the whole thing to be in the camo yarn, but I wanted to break it up a little bit. So every fifth row, I'm doing this dark brown in here. And if anybody's interested in this, and you can do this in any yarn, it doesn't have to be in this camo. It's called the Man Cave Throw, or Man Cave. I don't want to misquote. Let me open up the PDF. Not that I need it. The Man Cave Throw from yarnspirations.com. Going to have to check out vintage patterns. I haven't done anything like that. I do have a pattern from my grandma's stash that is falling apart and typewritten. It also doesn't say what it is, so it should be a fun pattern. That is actually cool. That if you don't know what it is and you just have the instructions, that's like an even cooler mystery. I mean, it's kind of like what Karina does on her channel. It's her son blocks out all the titles and anything that would hint to what the item would be, and she kind of has to figure it out as she goes. And then when she's done making it, she's not really certain what it is. She'll pull off the tape and say, "Oh, this is that's what that was supposed to be." So it's kind of the same thing with that. If you've got a pattern that doesn't actually say what it is, just make certain I had the right amount of stitches there on my starting. Now, I came across this, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that's kind of like filet crochet. And the other week we did filet crochet here in the stream, and filet crochet is basically this isn't really filet, but it's similar because it'll be these square stitches and then filled in, and it's all doubles. So I was like, that'll work. And it kind of tied into what I had done previously here when I was showing what filet crochet is. Oh, that's another thing, and I forgot. I need to make a little checklist or a little cheat thingy I can post here for my own use. A little note. When I stream, when I'm done the stream, I upload all of my VODs to my YouTube channel. So that's what the YouTube link is for. They're not edited. They're as you see it. That's how you get them. I don't know how to do any of that editing. I think maybe at some point I should look into all of that. But if you're interested in anything that what I've done here on the channel in the past, definitely check out the YouTube channel. I do a lot of instruction and educational. Whoops. That's not right. Okay. I will teach stitches. I'll teach some granny square patterns. Periodically, I will have a granny event. We had one back in June. All June long, we did granny squares. They were all garden themed. And I have a garden. Yeah, that's it, a garden. A granny event, possibly for September. Okay, I'm running near the end of that yarn, so I gotta get some more of the same. Also in September, we will possibly, if the weather cools off enough, we will pick up our year-long temperature blanket pattern that we've been working on. I haven't worked on that in a few months because it's a little too warm for that. And the temperature blanket is going to be a personal project for me. That's not a donation project. And it's sitting here to my left. It's been sitting here patiently behaving itself. For those of you that are interested, it is the moss stitch. It's also known as linen stitch. Here on the channel, we call it the zipper stitch because the stitches kind of form a zipper type pattern. It looks like the teeth of a zipper. I got the idea from Krista from the Secret Yarnery on YouTube. How do you like the temperature project? Oh, I like it. Like I said, it's the linen stitch or the moss stitch. So it's single crochet, chain one, single crochet, chain one. And then when you do the single crochets, you're single crocheting into the chain space. So it's not, you don't got to find the actual stitch in the loop to go into it. It's real easy. And it goes kind of quick. The part that I didn't like was beforehand doing the planning. Not only did I have to figure out my temperature range and what colors, in my temperature blanket, it's using up, it's a scrap, it's actually, like Fairy Dust had mentioned earlier, a scrap busting project. This is a scrap busting project. So I've got, what, seven different ranges. So it's temperature ranges, basically 10 degrees at a time. But anything under 40 is white and anything over 90 is red. But if I'm doing like 90 degrees, it's red. It could be any red that I have. So it's not a specific shade. It's more of a red. If I look at it and the yarn says, to me, it says red, that's a red. Same thing with the blue and all different colors. I'm not doing specific individual shades like red heart, baby pink has to be this temperature range. So the hardest part really wasn't coming up with the temperature range, what colors for the temperature range. The hard part was doing the math for the size because I didn't want I wanted a stitch, and thankfully Krista's temperature blanket, it's great because it's not really tall stitches, and I'd pick it up and bring it over, but I'm about 6 months into it, so it's kind of heavy. And I'm not dealing with anything that, and it's going to be about a queen size, so it's a pretty large blanket. But with that stitch, they interlock, so you're not going to have each row is not going to be large, because it was going to be for all year, so I'm going to do 365 rows, and I didn't want it to be a mile long. The width is fine, I can figure out the width, but it was the stitch height, and it's like So I had to do a bunch of different gauge swatches and some planning, and it's like, okay, I got to measure and do a lot of math. That was the part that made my brain hurt. But if you're going to do a temperature blanket for all year, I would definitely recommend that pattern. If you're doing a smaller one for a smaller amount of time for only like a few months, obviously you can choose a different pattern because it's not going to be 365 rows. I feel a sneeze coming on. I hate that. Whew. Excuse me. Thank you. So, yeah, I like the temperature blanket. And actually, I got 2 of my followers to do temperature blankets. One of my moderators, Clay Miko, she did one, but she did it for not the current year. She did it the other year when she was pregnant with her daughter, and it was her whole pregnancy, so it was only 9 months. And then instead of blessing, I think that needs divine intervention. Yeah, some of my sneezes can be very loud. And to stream here for the chat command, the audio chat commands, I've got audio commands that anybody can use when the time happens or whatever. I know if Segan comes in, he's got one. It's the dun dun dun. Anybody can use all of those. Again, periodically it'll pop up the list of my audio commands, but I have to have my one setting on my computer turned off for you all to hear that. If I had, and it's a setting that has to do with my graphics card, if I had that enabled, you wouldn't hear me sneeze, because I've had it enabled when I've talked with friends of mine, not here on stream, and it's like a what do they call it? It basically blocks up background noise, because like I'll be talking to a bunch of them, and one of them will be like, "Did you hear that in the background of so and so? Did you hear them?" I'm like, "I didn't hear any of that," because I have that software for the graphics card, and the same thing goes that if I sneeze.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The ladybugs came to the ladybugs picnic.
Thank you for that. That was from. I wasn't ready for that. Where did I put it? Hold on a second. Where did I put all my Seriously, where did I put my square? Oh, maybe they're in this. Yes. So that was the command for back in June when we did our Granny Month, and it was garden themed. It was first 2 weeks were flowers. The second 2 weeks were not really insects, because I did do a snail, but we did a ladybug square. Now, all these squares, I didn't design any of these squares. These are squares that I found online. So, and I credited the sources where I got them. So, yeah, this one was one of my favorites. So I did that one. I did a bunch of other granny squares, and then one of the other ones, one of the flowers, my favorite flower one I did was this one. I think it's called the water lily. That one's my favorite. I got a whole bunch of those. So that's what the ladybug was. That was the ladybug picnic from back in the day on Sesame Street. So what was I saying? Beginning to be like some of the streamers on here that I watch that's totally chaotic. Um, I completely forgot what I was saying. Oh, the software thing that it'll block out some of the noises like sneezing or coughing. I don't know how it does it. And we're going to have another ad here. Ooh. And like I said, you're all free to use any of those audio commands whenever you want. If you just want to use them, just to use them, that's fine. I don't mind any of that. And I will be right back after this ad break. Welcome back, everybody. So where were we? Oh yeah, I had said that feel free to use any of those audio sound commands. I'll add more from time to time.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high.
And that was when we did. Those aren't the only ones I like. They're all mixed in together here with. Where are we? That's when we did this butterfly square. This is, I think, by Yarn Utopia on YouTube. And then this is not the one I like, but that's the one I'll show. I had a sample one, and then that was my sample, and then this is the one I did on stream. I like the sample one better. And then I don't know where the one I did on stream. This was the other butterfly one that we did. I didn't really like this one as much. Reading Rainbow, yep. Reading Rainbow, Sesame Street, yeah. I am a child of the 80s. So that's when we did the butterfly. I also have a dragonfly one in here, which I didn't really like as much. But I got all different floral ones. I got these. Oh, this one. This one took some time. I really like it, and it uses a lot of scraps. But I did this one. That took, if I remember correctly on stream, 2.5 hours to do. And again, I'm showing you how to do it. I'm like, okay, do this, do that, or whatever, stitch by stitch, and changing color. Each round you basically change color, or every 2 rounds, because some of them use as a foundation. And then it's 5 pointed, I guess, because it's. And then you had to square it up, and yeah, that's like the cherry blossom one. But I got a bunch of different ones, and again, they're on the YouTube. And we will be doing more granny events, like I said, in September. I think I've got it planned for September. We'll be doing another granny event. It's going to be all month long. And actually, I can announce it. I don't have specific ones for specific days. We're still going to do our Throwback Thursday. So Thursdays are still going to be our vintage patterns. And by then, Sundays we'll go back to our temperature blankets. So Tuesdays and Thursdays. I usually stream Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So I think Tuesdays and Saturdays will be our granny streams in September. And the theme is woodland. I figure we're getting into the fall and the coziness and everything. The fall here in North America, I should say, if you're in the southern hemisphere, you'll be going into summer. But I'm here in North America, so it'll be woodland, cozy, foresty type stuff. Again, none of those are patterns that I designed. They're from resources I found online, and I will credit the sources when I do those squares. In addition to that, I am in the process, very beginning process, of designing my first crocheted pattern. I mean, I've made up one off the spot where it's like, okay, you do a row of doubles and a row of half doubles and a row of doubles and a row of triples, and yeah, I've done all that. But one that's an actual project of my own design, I'm still in the process of it. I'm trying to figure it out. It's going to be a mosaic crochet pattern. I've got a couple rows figured out. I just gotta work on more of them. I'm doing a sample at first before I do the full one. No, no pumpkin spice. I don't know. Actually, let me look of my little planning thing. I think it's in this file. Give me a second. Do I have any pumpkin? Oh, they're just the links. They don't actually say exactly what they are. I don't know if there's any pumpkins on there. I know there's going to be some leaves. Yeah, I don't know if there's any pumpkins. I don't know how to add spice, like pumpkin spice, to my yarn because I don't want something sprinkled on my yarn. Yeah, no. I am not spraying my crocheted work with any fragrances. No, no, no. we we use well, we haven't used that in a while. We used that a lot when I was doing my the shawl pattern. Oh, and the shawl was, and I don't have the link for it right off the right in hand. It's another yarnspirations.com pattern. It is the fluffy meringue shawl from Yarnspirations and Mikey from the Crochet Crowd. It's a 4-row repeat, and I had to frog a couple rows a couple times, and here's the yarn. I gotta, not this exact same yarn, but it's the same type of yarn. It's just a different colorway. I was using a roving style yarn. This is Facets by Loops and Threads. And I was also using Unforgettable by Red Heart, which are comparable. So if you've ever worked with a roving style, it means there's hardly any twist in it, and it's very silky. But the problem is, and actually, I've got a little sample. Where'd I put my sample? I think my sample's over here under the. Here's the sample. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Let's put the camo away. We're gonna come back to that. So I did 3 of these shawls in this exact same colorway, and this is all I had left. I was going to do a smaller version for Claymiko's daughter. I did one in greens and yellows for Claymiko, and I did a smaller version in those same colors. It was actually green, yellows, and a little bit of purple for her daughter. So they have matching shawls. But I thought I was going to have enough of this for her daughter, but I ran out. So this is the pattern. This is the fluffy meringue shawl pattern. It's kind of like the virus pattern, similar, but it's 3-dimensional because the one row has got back post doubles, so it does have some dimension. But I just had not enough. If I had enough to do one more repeat, which is 4 more rows, it would have been perfect for her daughter, but it's just too small. But again, this is a roving style yarn, and the reds don't like to show up on camera. So it doesn't have a lot of twists, but it's got some fuzz to it, and if you have to frog it, it can snag and rip easily, and Grammy knows I almost said a whole lot of bad words with that one, but But I got through it. It was fine. I love working with the yarn. It just if you have access to either Red Heart Unforgettable, that's what this is, or Michael's. This is a Michael's line. It's facets, loops, and threads. Which is a Michael's line. Even just go to the store and feel it, and like it's just so soft and silky and squishy. I don't know how you would feel about working with it, because I know there are people who hate roving yarn. I love roving yarn, but it's it's very tactile. I love it. I just love that. I'm a crazy yarn person, if you hadn't noticed. Okay. Speaking of crazy, oh, lost my hook. But we've used the ribbit quite often when I was doing those 5 shawls. Yeah, I did 5, and the adult size of these, there were, I think, 16 or 17 repeats. Yeah. You're one of those that loathes roving yarn? I'm currently learning how to spin yarn, and I love to touch. I'm with you there, Lumberjack. I haven't touched it in a while. It's actually behind me. I need to get it out. I've got a drop spindle, and I've got 2 electric spinning wheels. And I've done 1 bobbin. I don't know how much it holds. I'm learning. And the other thing, and we've done this on stream. Move this little goodie out of the way. I can't afford to buy a lot of actual wool, like sheep wool. So, if you're on a budget and you're resourceful like us crafters are, and what I had learned how to, when I was first learning to spin with the electric spinning wheel, Michael's used to carry it. It was a roving yarn, but it was a jumbo yarn. And it was 2 strands that were lightly twisted together, and I untwisted them and just pulled that apart and spun with that. I've got a bunch of it. And it's acrylic. Well, I'm like, oh, what I can do is I can take scraps from any of my projects. Well, these are actually from Grammy. After you weave in your ends, you've got your little ends that you can clip off. And they have to be at least probably about 2 or 3 inches long. You don't want anything real short. And I'm not going to do it here tonight. I've done it on the stream before. And I got off of Amazon. These are actually dog grooming brushes, but it's the same type of thing. I was carding it, opening up the fibers, and then turning it back into fluff. So I got all this fluff, and it's acrylic. And then I could take this and then spin it into new yarn. It's exactly what you're planning on doing? Yep. So I got this, and I still have to get a wooden board. I've got a staple gun. I need a wooden board. I got these little hand carders. They're fine and all. But I got a sheet of carding cloth that's got all the little teeth and little tines. I need to staple that down to a board and then make my own blending board and then make my own rollags and spin from that, because it'll be a lot easier to do it from the rollags than these tiny little rollags from the little brushes. I got to get a board. We have some boards, but I don't think they're going to be the right width. They're a little too narrow, I think. So I'm all about the fiber. And then one of my followers in here, Crojo Mojo, she gave me It was knitted. It was a little sample of this nasty, nasty, nasty yarn. I like the color. I love the color. But it is super scratchy. And I frogged it out. But it is so rough and scratchy. So I did a little test with it a while back. And I opened it up. It's still a little scratchy. It's not as bad. But if I blend this with something else, hopefully that we can salvage this and use this for something. I don't like throwing away yarn. I mean, yeah, if it's really, really crap, then I will get rid of it, but possibly can reuse this. So yeah, definitely, if you want to get into spinning and need supplies, and you're already a yarn artist, use your little scraps that you got. It's free. And that's just from little samples I've done here on stream. Like that right there, that gold color, I know exactly where that's from. This gold is the gold from this butterfly. I can identify. Some of the other stuff has been blended a bunch of different times. But I would keep all acrylic together. I wouldn't, especially us learning, I wouldn't really go into blending other fibers with it right away. That goes over there. Yeah, love reusing it. You use what you got, and then that way you can make your own color combinations. Have you ever used some yarn, instantly hated it, and vowed to never use it again? No. But there's some that I really don't like using. I mean, I'll use it if I have it. But there's some yarns it's not like I'm going to go back out and like purposely purchase. Yeah, I've never gotten to where I won't ever use it again. Like, and I think I've mentioned this before in the stream, homespun. I've got a whole bunch of homespun. I'll use it because I have it. But I'm not going to go out and buy homespun for a project. If somebody ends up giving me some yarn and there's homespun, Lion Brand homespun in it, I'll take it and I'll use it. But it's not something I'm going to actively go out and get. Mainly because it just snags. And we've talked about this before. It's got that monofilament that helps with the twist and makes it fluffy, and it always snags. Even if you use a different type of hook, and then there's that whole thing. It's not yarn that I will never use again. It's a hook. It's the Susan Bates hooks. I refuse to use a Susan Bates hook. Actually, I was in Pick Stitch's channel the other night, and we were talking about that he hates Susan Bates hooks, and I'm right there with him, and because I can't finish the stitch with it. I gotta have more of a tapered hook or a boy style hook. But yarn, no, I don't think I've ever come across a yarn that I will never ever use again. Trying to think. Oh, nope. There is a yarn that I tried and I instantly hated it. Crojo Mojo got some back in the spring. It's a Hobby Lobby brand. I think it's called Scrub It or Scrubby. It's to make pot scrubbers and all that. I can't stand touching it, much less working with it. It just, yeah. It's almost like there are some people, and if this triggers anybody, I'm sorry. It's almost like, and I really don't like it either. When you're in school now, I don't know how it is nowadays, and I don't know how old everybody is, but back when I was in school, chalk and a chalkboard, not the fingernails on it, just touching the chalk or the chalkboard, or, and again, if it triggers somebody, I'm sorry. I don't have a problem with it. Some people do. Breaking apart or touching styrofoam, it's that type of thing. It's that scrubby yarn. It's just, oh no. So yes, there is a yarn that I've instantly hated. She had some, and I tried working with some of that she had, and I did about like 4 or 5 stitches. And I'm like, no, it's yours. No, I don't want it. Don't touch. No. Again, it wasn't about working with it. It was just touching that stuff. All right, we're at 1, 2. Okay, we're getting ready to change our colors here. Now I gotta change my color. I gotta get my brown. Flip there. Just gifted some yarn. Had some Lion Brand Jiffy from the 80s. It's supposed to be for baby stuff, but it feels like sandpaper, and Red Heart Super Saber had a baby. Will never acquire it again. If I ever acquire it again, it's going in file 13. Okay. With that, and I've talked to Grammy about this before. Especially if it's vintage yarn. And when I mean vintage, I mean like over 20, 25 years. More like 25, 30 years. Yarn has come a long way. Yarn has come, the big box manufacturer, commercial yarns have come a long way, especially Red Heart Super Saver. Red Heart Super Saver now, it's not the softest, this is Red Heart, whoop, throwing a pin across the room. This is Red Heart Super Saver. It's not the softest, but it is a lot softer than the stuff we had in the 80s and the early 90s. So there is that. And yes, I've used some of that baby stuff, and yeah, it is scratchy. I don't know if that has to do with the quality changing in the production, or it has something to do with with like the yarn actually aging. Because back in the 80s and 90s, I wasn't crocheting. I didn't start crocheting until about the early 2000s. There's a baby blanket that one of my aunts had made, and I don't remember, obviously I don't remember ever using it, if it was ever used, but touching it now, going on many decades, we're going to leave it at that, I don't like touching it. Red Heart Super Saber isn't horrible. I kind of use it as a baseline. Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's not the softest. There are some softer acrylics out there. But again, yeah, there's nothing wrong with Red Heart Super Saver. I'll use Red Heart Super Saver. But again, it's a lot softer than what it used to be. And we're going to another ad. I hope these ads are not annoying for everybody. They do help my channel. I'm considering changing the duration of them. I have to figure out how to do all of that, if I remember. But is it as scratchy as now? Oh, it is scratchy as now as it was when it first was made. Gotcha. Alrighty. I'm going to go to the ad, and when we come back, we're going to work more on this and continue chit-chatting. I'll be back. And welcome back, everybody. Speaking of acrylic yarn and different levels of scratchiness and softness, the camo here, that's Super Saver. The brown is Hirschner's Worsted. I can feel a difference. I mean, I can tell they're both acrylic and they're comparable, but I can definitely tell that the worsted, the dark brown, is softer. Patents Canadia is some really soft acrylic. Using some scraps, yes, I think I've used some of that before. I know, I don't know if it's softer, but Craft Smart, I think it's a Michaels only line. It's not the Loops and Threads line. Hey there, Anna, how are you? Um, and I've got some Craft Smart over there. It's too far away to grab. Um, it being acrylic, I think it is softer than the Red Heart Super Saver. And I've used a lot of the Craft Smart in the temperature blanket. But yeah, Patton's Canadiana, I can't pronounce that with all the vowels. Words, they're difficult. How are you, Anna? How was work? You probably just got to work. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm making a blanket that I'm going to end up donating to Project Linus. I think I've told you about Project Linus before. And as I say that, the link came up. Hot, the AC is not working properly. Oh no, 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 no. No. I got to have my AC when it's hot. Um This is going to be a blanket that I'm going to donate to Project Linus. It is a very simple pattern. It's called the Man Cave Throw from yarnspirations.com. It's real simple. It's a one row repeat. And it's a variation of filet crochet where you do a bunch of doubles, and then when you do the open work, instead of chaining two, skipping two, and doing that double, you're only chaining one and skipping one. So it is more of like a square stitch. It's real easy to do. You don't got to think about it. And it's the same thing over and over again. So all of the open work are in a column, and all of the double crochets are in a column. The pattern called for all of this camo, because I've got a lot of this camo yarn. Clay Miku gave me a bunch of it. And I'm like, I'm never going to use it. I'm not a fan of it. I've used it in the past because I got some of like a ball of it here or there for whatever reason, and I worked it up, and I don't like it. It's not my thing. It's not my colorway. So I'm like, what am I going to do with it? And I couldn't really incorporate it in temperature blanket because I don't want variegated in my temperature blanket. Because yeah, we've put in greens, but it's got the browns and the blacks, and I'm like, so I'm like, oh well. Instead of all of the baby stuff or the cutesy, more pinks and pastels, there are ones out there, kids out there that would like the camo, either army, woodland, or whatever. But to break it up from just all of the camo over and over and over again, I got the brown. Grammy gave me this brown yarn, and we were just talking about it. I don't have the label anymore. I don't know what happened to it. But it's just a brown acrylic. It's Hirschner's brand, Hirschner's worsted, and I think it works really good. I did like every fifth row I'm doing the brown, and then when it's done, I haven't got to the border, obviously. The border is calling for black, and I don't know exactly how the border is done. I think it's got like 4 rounds to it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to use black. I'm probably going to use the brown when I get to it, or maybe come with my own border. I might do something different, but it's really simple. And then I don't know. I think you've had seen progress on this. What? Don't get snagged. Okay. So my other one that I'm donating to Project Linus. I'm zoomed out as far as I can go. This one's gorgeous. I love this. Love this blanket. I might end up making this, not necessarily for me, but might make this again in a different yarn. Where's my stitch holder, stitch marker? I think I put a stitch marker on. No, I didn't put a stitch marker on it. So this is the Endlessly Elegant blanket, and it's too big to fit on screen. I do have a picture of it, which I'll probably pull up the picture here in a second. But this will be going to Project Linus also. It's a lot of baby yarn. And if I remember correctly, I've had this yarn for a while. I've probably had this, it's new, mean, it's never been used into anything before, but it's probably going on 20 years. It's new and clean, so it's not like anything nasty with it. I had tons of this. I'm like, need something to use it up, and it's really soft, and the pattern is like gorgeous. Let me pull up the. Whoops. I'll pull up the picture of it. You can see what I've got so far. That is the blanket. They're all laid out. I'm still going to add more to it. You'll notice around the edge, it's like a lighter blue. It's a different dye lot. It's the same colors, it's a different dye lot. And Grammy helped me. We've decided that I'm going to do one more of this repeat. You can kind of see it's got the squares that kind of frame it. I'm going to do one more in the lighter, and then after that, do some of the dark, and then some more of the light. Again, it's all the same color, it's just slightly different dye lot. So, yeah. This is the Endlessly Elegant blanket pattern on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. Let's see. I had the link up earlier. I was in someone's stream. I think I was in Moko Made's stream earlier today, and somebody asked for it. Let me find the link if anybody is interested. Come on. Okay, that's not gonna work. I'm still the I want. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Copy. There we go. That's the pattern for this blanket. You can make it as big as you want. That's why they call it endlessly. You can keep going and going and going. And it's a simple, relatively simple. This section here, I'm calling the field. It's a 2-row repeat. You do the same thing. The corners are different. You got to do something different for the when you turn the corners. That's the most difficult part. And then when you get to these 4, 2. Let me look it up real quick. I got it right here. I had it queued up in case I was going to work on this tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 rows, you do the same thing. You're just doing more of them. And it's the same thing over and over again. And then once you do this, and you do this quote-unquote border, then you start the field over again. You just keep going and going and going and make it as large as you want. Yeah, that's gorgeous. And then there's another one I haven't started yet. It is, I'll get the yarn out real quick. It's a little too warm, just like temperature blanket. It's a little too warm to use at the moment. It's over here in one of my many bags of tricks that I have. I got, oh, the light's not gonna show. Oh, okay. I got about 4 of these big cakes, Ollie's, which here in the US is a, what do you call it? A closeout discounter, liquidation type store. And they had back in the spring, they had tons of yarn. That's where I got the Red Heart Unforgettable from. I got a whole bunch, got like about a dozen skeins of that at a really good price. Well, they had some of this Red Heart Fleece Hugs. It's a polyester yarn, and they say this is a weight of 4. I think it's technically it is a 4. Yeah, it is a 4. It might even be a 3 because anyway, the colors aren't showing up right. This is more of like an aqua color instead of like a turquoise. The camera plays around with colors, but I got 4 of these, and I think I'm going when it's cooler because this definitely have got some thermal qualities to it. I'm just going to make a simple corner-to-corner blanket with this. And it's going to be really soft and squishy and snuggly. So, those are the 3 so far. Yeah, the colors are pretty. I've done corner-to-corner as a sample. I've never done a full corner-to-corner project. Both Grammy and, she's not here right now, Crojo Mojo has done corner-to-corner projects. Clay Miko, I think, might have done one. Anyway, I've showed corner-to-corner on the stream before. If that's something that somebody wants to see again, who weren't around when I showed that back in the spring, actually, no, that's the winter time. I can always revisit that. It's really simple to do. I mean, there's variations of it, but the basic corner-to-corner, I can always show that again. Also, I am thinking probably in October, I might bring back, and we haven't done it in a long time, bring back some of our Stitch Dictionary, where we pick a stitch out of our book. Again, Crochet Stitch Dictionary by Sarah Hazel. We did a bunch of these back in the winter and early spring. That was the main thing I was doing, was showing different stitches. So we can bring this back. Hey there, Moco Maid. Thank you for coming into my channel. I was in your channel earlier today, and I've heard of your channel and your team and everything, because I follow Pix. I think she's part of the Moco Loco team. Vintage Sogal, if I'm mistaken. Oh, hold on one second. Why is that? Hold on a second. I'm having some problems here. Oh, here we go. Vintage. I've been in Vintage channel a bunch of times. Vintage has been in my channel, and I've been in Kim for a Day's channel a lot. So I know of you guys now. Is this Derek or Dev? Those of you who don't know, and again, I've only been in Moco Maid's channel once today. I think maybe. Oh, hey, Derek. I think I might have popped in previously at one time, weeks ago. I don't know if I said anything in chat. They are a sibling team, and I know you do leather. You do a lot of leather work. What does Dev do? And I know she was doing some type of painting. But they've got a whole team, and they support other crafters and streamers and artisans and that type of thing. Yeah, I know. And again, I know you guys mainly from those channels. Dev's mostly painting, and I'm mostly leather, but we get our hands on a whole bunch of different things. Nice. I'm the Crafty Cub, and I know you had seen some of the stuff that I posted in your stream earlier today. Mostly crochet. I've been streaming for about, I'm getting I'm getting yarn barf. I'm getting yarn barf. Those who don't know what yarn barf is, pulling from the skein, and I'm dealing with a knot, and I don't like yarn barf. Mostly crochet. I have done some other things on the stream. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. I don't like this. This is not a good thing. It's bound to happen. I know what I should have done. When Grammy gave me this skein of yarn, I should have sat down and got my ball winder and made a cake. But I didn't do that. I worked right from the skein. So, like I said, mostly it's yarn, crochet. Oh no. Oh, okay. Okay. That was okay. Usually, when that chat command, when I hear that, it's my one mod Cgam, and I thought Cgam was here, but okay. I've only been streaming since December. There, okay. Got out this. Now I can work with this. This is the yarn barf. I've only been streaming since December. A good friend of mine, he encouraged me to stream. He plays a lot of video games during the day here on Twitch. And that's another one. I think that's how you spell was. Yes, I got it right. That's my friend Daniel. He does a bunch of video games. I know nothing about video games, and I'm in there always picking on him. He played World of Warcraft and ESO Online and Fallout, one of the Fallouts, and a bunch of other different things. Again, so I'm only in there really to support him. Again, I know nothing about video games. I know basic stuff, but my modern video games is Minecraft. But when I think video games, I'm like old school, like Pac-Man, Space Invaders, like Donkey Kong, like 80s. But yeah, thank you for popping in, Moko Maid, Derek. I had heard that there was chaos because I've been in a bunch of other streams that are part of the Moko Loco team that are chaos. I was not expecting Titty Tuesday. Those who don't know, I guess it's a thing every Tuesday. I don't know. I'm assuming he had magnetic tassels on his shirt where tits would be, and he was doing this type of thing, and expect the unexpected. Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. It was an experience. Just playing with all this yarn barf. Ugh. Yeah. They call it yarn barf because when you pull it out, it looks like your skinny yarn just threw up. Okay, now it's kind of working. Again, what I need to do off stream, and I've only got that much more of this color for this row, and I got 4 more rows of the camouflage, so it's not like I need that much right now. Off stream, I need to sit here and cake it up like I usually do. Again, there are people who love a cake, and there's people who don't. I'm a cake person, not just eating, but when it comes to yarn. And again, those who don't know what a yarn cake is, it's a way of making your yarn so it'll sit flat and it looks like a little cake. I don't think you want to eat it. Okay. Where was I? I caused my own chaos. But yeah, like I said, mostly it's crochet on here. I need to figure out a setup for some other things. Physical setup with the camera for some other art forms that I want to show off. I mentioned it earlier, namely floral design and get out my rigid huddle weaving loom. I could adjust, oh, I don't need a chain there. I can adjust my camera for the loom, but you really wouldn't see anything because when you're using the loom, it's at an angle for the user and not for somebody on the other side or above. And you'd end up just seeing my stomach and part of the loom, so I gotta play around with angles, and I've got just a cheap webcam, so it's not like I've got a professional camera and I can set it up on a tripod somewhere. That's behind the scenes. I prefer to not get hanks because then I have to find my Swift. Don't mind any other. Yeah. Majority of the stuff doesn't the yarn that I have comes in um a regular skein, which I can easily cake from a skein. I think the only yarn that I have that was in a hank. Those who don't know what a hank is, and I don't have a hank here. Basically, the yarn is coiled. It's looped and looped and looped, and then when it's all coiled, it's twisted. So it's it looks like a braid, and it's a way that they do it to keep it from untwisting. To work with that, you have to untwist it and you open it up, and it's many, many strands together, but it's a big loop. And to work with it so it doesn't get tangled, you have to put it on something called a yarn swift, which there's different versions of it. It's a mechanism that will hold it all into that open round thing, and you'll be able to pull from it and it'll spin freely, and then you can use your ball winder to put it into cakes. So there's a process and all. The only yarn I've ever had that was in hanks that I had to cake was Clay Miko's. She bought a bunch of it, and then I caked it for her, and then she decided she can't work with that yarn. It's too thin for her. It is my sock yarn that I still have to get back into making the sock. So yeah, this was in a hank originally, and yeah, I need to get back to my sock. That's just sitting over there and taking its time. I got to be in the mood for that. But you know us yarnies, as I refer to my following. Crow Joe Mojo's the one who came up with that term. But my yarnies, you know us yarnies, we always have whips going on. Let's clip that. Okay, now that could be caked. So I'm done with the brown at the moment. Get back to my camo. And join the camo up. Okay. We're going to do our little... I modified this also. Again, I'm not going to show how to do the pattern, but I'll show the modification if anybody's interested. And this is something you can do with other projects, I guess. The pattern called for you chain 2, and then in that stitch, you do a double crochet. Well, I chained 1, and now I go right into there and do a double crochet, and it makes the edges a little bit neater on this. Cascade is the only brand I've used that comes in hanks. I want to try the new Mary Maxim sock yarn. Yeah, I've never tried either one of those. 2, 3, 4, and all right, we got another ad. I will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. As soon as we went on ad break, I realized I made a mistake, and I had to frog back 2 rows. Because I'm supposed to have 5 stitches here, and I had 4, but I had an extra chain 1 space. So yeah, I had to do a bunch of frogging. But luckily, this is only 50 inches wide, so it's a kid's blanket, so it's not that many stitches. Still a pain. But that happens. I was running my mouth and I wasn't paying attention. Thank you, Grammy. Exactly. And we were just talking about that. I hadn't had to do that in a long time. if you mention that I have to frog, and if I'm going to jinx myself, and then I'll have to do it. I think what we're going to do is we're going to get to the end of this row, and we will probably raid somebody because it's already been 2 hours. And then, like I said, off stream, I will deal with that brown yarn and that yarn barf and cake it all up. And I won't have to worry with it as much. But yeah, I'm excited for Thursday, for Throwback Thursday, in our mystery vintage edging pattern. The following Thursday, we're going to be doing a mini doily / coaster pattern from, I think it's from the 40s. And then I got to figure out more, besides the mystery ones. I don't have to do anything for that. I have to find more vintage patterns to do for the future for Thursdays. And again, in September, we're having our Woodland Granny Month event. In addition to Temperature Blanket will be coming back. And of course, we're still going to work on blankets for Project Linus. Well, that's where I messed up. I'm supposed to do a double here, and I chained, and there's no chain there. You get in the rhythm of you do 3 of these chain little segments, and that's where I mess up. Oh, I didn't wear my shirt. Well, I'll have to do that on Saturday when I work on blankets for Project Linus. Grammy got us some Project Linus shirts. I can wear it during stream, and then also when we go to a meeting. Again, those of you who don't know, Project Linus is a nonprofit charity in the US and Canada. I don't know if they're in other nations. They take in donations of handmade, brand new, meaning the materials have to be new, blankets that are either crocheted, knitted, quilted. I forgot what it's called. It's where you take the polar fleece and you put 2 layers of it and you slit them around the edges and then you tie them together. It's a no-sew project. There's a couple other different blanket making techniques. And they will donate them to children in need, any ages from 0 to 18, that are traumatized, seriously ill, basically any child that's in need. And it's a good community thing. They have chapters all over the country and all over Canada. So if you're interested in any of that, check in with your local chapter and see what they need. Each chapter will have different needs. I know our local chapter, they meet a couple times a month. To sort through the donations that they have got and also to sew on tags, because they have their own tags to say that the blanket is a Project Linus blanket, and to cut fabric. I know not all Joann Fabrics, but I know select Joann Fabrics. They are a partner with Project Linus, and some of their stores are drop-off spots where you can drop off your handmade blanket or blankets. It's a pretty good charity. That, or if there's another charity that somebody is interested in, definitely mention it either here in the stream when we're live, or in the Discord. Okay, we're at the end of this row, and like I said, we get to the end here, we're going to go raid somebody, and I know who we're going to raid. Okay, 1, 2, because I'm getting hungry. So, as soon as we get done this, as soon as we raid, I'm getting something to eat. And some of that cake, that lemon lime cake. I'll have my dinner first, but okay. Let's put that there. Alrighty. Again, thank you everybody for hanging out with me tonight while I was working on the blanket. I will be on Thursday for our Throwback Thursday vintage mystery vintage edging pattern from the mid-40s. Let's get this set up here real quick. I will be on, like I said, Thursday. Saturday is going to be more Project Linus blankets, so we'll be working on that. Maybe we'll pick up the Endlessly Elegant one. The cake was good. There better be some cake left. Anyway, so thank you all for hanging out with me. We're going to go raid Miss Sheepy, Black Sheep Meat. We're going to go see what type of chaos that she is into. Her channel is chaotic. I think she's working on a sweater. Yeah, I think she's working on a sweater. Let me just double check something real quick. Okay. So definitely go and show her some love over there on her channel. And I will see you on Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern, again for our mystery vintage stuff. So everybody have a good evening. Join the